transforming an object using a custom pipe. In our previous lecture, we had learned how to create a simple custom pipe that transforms a word to make the first letter to be in uppercase. It takes a string as an input, and then our capitalized pipe alters its value. This time, we'll create a new custom pipe that takes an object instead of a string, and then return a specific format based on the fields of a given object. We will create a new pipe called employee name pipe. It will take an employee object, and then it returns the first name and the last name. The steps are almost the same as with the previous one. We will first create a new pipe called employee name pipe by using the ng-gpipe command of the Angular CLI tool. Second, we will modify the transform method of the generated pipe class to return the first name and the last name fields from the employee object. And finally, we're gonna use the custom employee pipe in the interpolation expression. This is quite useful in developing real-world web and mobile applications, as most of the time, we're always dealing with JSON objects that may be from an HTTP response or from an observable subscription. Okay then, let's get started. We will reuse the same example for our first custom Angular pipe. So we have here our capitalized pipe, as you can see here. And what I'm gonna do is create a new class called employee. So here, just type class and employee. And then let's add the fields. You have the first name as a string, last name as a string as well, and the salary as a number. And then let's add the constructor. So we have here the constructor with 3 parameters. The first one is the first name, and then the last name and the salary. And then let's assign it on these fields. This is the first name, and then this last name, and then this dot salary. Our employee class is now done. Next, go to the app component class, and then let's add our employee variable. And then this is a type of employee. And then add new employee. And we're gonna call the constructor this one. So if you add this, you'll see here the first name, last name, and salary. So we can add my name and last name and my salary. Let's say my salary is $100,000, and that's it. Good. And of course, this salary is actually fictitious. Okay then, let's start out with clearing up our terminal, and then let's create a new custom pipe called employee name. Just type ng g and then pipe and then employee name, and that's it. Alternatively, what you can do is ng generate pipe and then employee name. So whatever you prefer, that's fine. So for now, let's add this. And as usual, we have 2 new files, the employee name pipe and the employee name pipe spec file, and then it had updated our app module. So we have this employee name pipe, as you can see here, and then it added our new pipe under declarations, just like before. And that's how easy it is to generate a new pipe. For our second step, let's go now to our employee name pipe, and then let's modify the transform method. So again, the employee name pipe implements the pipe transform interface, and as such, it is now implementing this transform method. And as you can see here, it has two parameters. One is a required one, and then the second one is an optional one, the arguments. So now we know that the value here is actually for an employee object. So let's make a note. So this method accepts an employee object. Okay, later on, we're gonna change this parameter from an any type to an employee. But for now, let's leave it as it is. Let's go back to our app component TS. We know that our employee has three fields: the first name, the last name, and the salary fields. So when you go back to our pipe, what we can do is get the value, then let's call the first name and the last name. So we have first name, and then let's concatenate it and add a space in between. Next, call value and then last name, and save it. And that's it. Let's go back to our app component HTML, and then in here, let's change it to employee name and remove this. And then let's call the employee variable, which we declared earlier under app component. Basically this one, employee. So copy that and paste it here. Remove this label, employee name. For our final step, we're gonna use the employee name pipe in this interpolation expression. So the name of our employee name is this one, employee name filter, or employee name pipe. Copy that and paste it here and save it. Now, what's gonna happen is this. So our app component has this employee variable, and this employee variable has this value, a new employee object. It has John Bonso on the first and last name with a salary of 100,000. And then on your app component HTML, it is using the employee name pipe, which means you're gonna go to this method, the transform method. And then, since we have the first name and last name over here, then these two fields will be shown with a space in between them, as you can see here. Alright, so we're ready to run this application. Let's save this and head back to our browser. And there you go. We now have the name and my last name. So if you're gonna change the value under app component TS and make it, let's say, Jen Bonso, as you can see here, it's now properly reflected. And if you want to, you can change as well the last name, Jen Cruz. Save that, and as usual, it will be reflected on this page. Fantastic! It means that our new custom pipe is working fine. This time, instead of showing just the first name and last name, we're gonna show the first name, last name, and the salary in a specific format. So head back to your IDE and then go to your employee name pipe. So here, instead of first name, last name, let's say the salary of, and then concatenate it, and then this, colon the salary field. Okay, save that and let's see what will happen. And great, it works. Let's now clean up our code. Go back to your IDE and look at the transform method. As you can see here, this method accepts an employee object, but on the parameter, it is accepting any type. So what we're gonna do here is create a new employee object or an employee class. To do this, just go back to your terminal, clear this out, and then create a new class called employee. So just type ng g class and employee. And the Angular CLI had generated this new employee class. Currently it's empty, so just go to your app component TS and just copy this content and paste it here. Alright, good. Save that and go back to your app component TS, and you can now remove this. Next, let's import our new employee class. So just type import and then from .employee and then call on employee. Save that, and then let's copy this new import statement to our employee name pipe. Paste it here, and now we can use the transform value and then change this to an employee type. Save this and we're done. Right now, our employee name pipe only accepts an employee object. So if you're going to change this app component TS, and let's say for example, remove this and make it a string type and test, and go back to your browser, and you'll see here that you have this undefined error. So now let's change this back and save that, and it works fine again. Fantastic! That is the way to transform an object to a specific format using a custom pipe.